Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, again. We are about to begin our program, so I will ask for your attention at this point. Of course, please continue your breakfast. We're so glad you're here. My name is Patrick Bannon. I serve as president of the Bellevue Downtown Association. Welcome to our 2015 Breakfast with the Candidates. It's a lot of fun. It's election season. You can feel it in the air. Beautiful day today, and we're so glad that so many of you are out to support this program and learn a little bit about our elected leaders. So I want to make a few announcements and then we'll get right into the program. The Bellevue Downtown Association is a nonprofit membership organization. If this is your first BDA event, welcome. And if you'd like to learn more, please meet with me anytime, chat with one of our board members. I'd like to have a special welcome to Susan Stead, our BDA chair, who is here. Susan, could you wave your hand? And then if you're a BDA board member, could you raise your hand? Great. Thank you for being here. So for our members in the downtown community, our elected officials are a pretty big deal. You know, we look forward to working with them closely, and we have a rich history of doing so, because in order to really move things forward and to fulfill a vision for the community, there needs to be strong partnership between the private sector and the public sector, and the work of our elected officials helps move that forward. Special thanks to the BDA team that helped bring this program together today. It's a lot of work to do a candidates forum, and we're really proud of the effort that went into that. Our sponsors for the Member Breakfast Series, I'd like to give special mention to the Fortin Group and to Puget Sound Bank. Please join me in thanking them. So this program is going to run until 9:30. So lucky you. We're going to be here until 9:30, but I want you to feel free to stand up and stretch your legs, refill your coffee, and of course continue to eat throughout the program. We're going to take on the King County Council race in position 6, and then we're going to move into the Bellevue City Council race. So with that, I will also remind you to save the date for our next member breakfast, which will be on October 27th. And it'll be a special opportunity to hear from University of Washington Interim President Anna Mari Kase, and she will be speaking to the Global Innovation Exchange. So note that, October 27th, and we'll be right back here at the Bellevue Club. Okay, so let's begin our program. I'd like to introduce our moderator and perhaps mediator for the morning. He should be a familiar face to you all. His name is Bill Shaw, and he serves as Regional Publisher for Sound Publishing. Bill oversees the Bellevue, Issaquah, Sammamish, Mercer Island, Redmond, Kirkland, Bothell, Kenmore Reporters, and the Snoqualmie Valley Record. And these are weekly and daily online publications. Bill is a fourth-generation East Side native who grew up in Bellevue and graduated from Interlake High School and the University of Washington. Bill raised his family here and lives in Issaquah, where he serves on the board of the Issaquah Chamber of Commerce. Bill and his staff are active in several business and nonprofit groups and continue to seek out new partnerships in the community. And we're really happy to have Bill here to moderate this for us this morning. So please join me in a warm BDA welcome for Bill Shaw.
Good morning, Bellevue. First of all, thanks to the Bellevue Downtown Association for hosting this event, and thanks to you all who came here this morning to learn more about the candidates and the issues that our future city and county representatives will deal with every single day. I'd also like to offer special thanks to our candidates, both the incumbent and the challengers, for their past service to our community and for offering up their lives and time and hard work and commitment to strive to make Bellevue and the East Side a better place to live, work, shop, and play. Now, as much as I'd like to have this format be as natural and as informative as if each individual candidate was at your own kitchen table having a conversation with you over breakfast, or my table, and I do make a great omelet, we have to cover as many topics as possible in a small amount of time. And so we have to follow some rules, and we have to follow the clock. Each candidate will give a 90-second opening statement, and then as we move through the questions, the candidates will have 90 seconds to answer the questions, and then if I need to, I will close it down to 60 seconds as time goes forth and if things close out. But I'm hoping we can have as much time as possible to fully air the candidates' thoughts and processes on these issues. And at the end of the forum, we'll also have a 90-second closing statement. And again, I ask that the candidates respect the time limits given so that everyone has a fair chance to answer as many questions as completely as possible. And I'd also like to introduce the BDA's Ariel Taylor. She's our timekeeper. Ariel, please stand up. Please note that Ariel has a stopwatch and time cards to indicate the time remaining for each candidate, and she is the pulse of this forum. So we'll start the candidate with a set of questions for our King County Council Position 6 candidates, Claudia Balducci and Jane Haig. And then after, as Patrick said, after we're finished with their round of questions, we will invite the candidates for City Council to come to the stage, and we'll start the same process all over again. I ask that the audience please hold their applause until everyone has answered each question. And if time allows, I'm hoping there'll be a little opportunity for the audience to submit some questions for each set of candidates after they've finished. And again, please, I know you're all busy, but please turn your cell phones on silent. Thank you. Okay, so first of all, we'll have Jane Haig and Claudia Balducci, King County Council Position 6 candidates, come to the table. Good morning. And I see Ariel's positioned strategically up front, so, okay. We have a number of questions. First of all, and we'll start with the opening statements, and we'll start with Claudia Balducci. So a 90-second opening statement, Claudia.
Morning, everybody. It's a little nostalgic to be here, actually, because I see so many faces that have worked with me for so long and that I've worked with you for so long. I came here first as a candidate for City Council better? Candidate for City Council whose main priority was to improve our neighborhood shopping centers in East Bellevue. And since then, so much has changed. We've moved City Hall and become downtown neighbors ourselves. We've seen our skyline change. We've planned and are completing the park at Maidenbower Bay and the circle in the downtown after many years of visioning. We've worked hard to address our big challenges, especially our transportation system, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that today. Our people have changed. We've grown to over 130,000 people and even more jobs. Our diversity has increased dramatically. We've indeed welcomed the world. Our economy has evolved with booming tech employers, both large and small. We've got an increasing global presence with over 70 international companies here in Bellevue. We're closer than ever to our dream of a downtown performing arts center, and so much more. I'm really proud of all we've accomplished. But so many of our challenges and opportunities are regional in nature. It's clear that we need strong, engaged leadership at the County Council. And that's why I decided to run for this position. I want to bring the kind of leadership and partnership that we've had in Bellevue to the county for all of us. I really look forward to the discussion this morning, and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Jane, opening statement.
Good morning, and it's been my pleasure to represent the city of Bellevue and the Greater East Side for over 20 years. We're here standing on the shoulders of giants who had a great vision, and we must continue to be working on that vision. I have deep roots in the community, and I've been proud to work alongside of so many of you from Maidenbower Center, the Bellevue Arts Museum, the Downtown Park, the Bellevue Transit Center, and downtown housing. It seems only yesterday that the streets rolled up at 6 p.m., but now they're vibrant until well after dark. I've worked for kids and families with the Boys and Girls Club, with the Salvation Army, with Eastside Legal Assistance, and the Domestic Violence Protection Program. My values in public service are that government should be understandable, accessible, and accountable. I'm the independent candidate who works across the aisle for results. I'm endorsed by Republicans and Democrats, business and labor, law enforcement, firefighters, jail guards, environmental groups, and women's advocacy. 3 of your 6 remaining Bellevue City Council members have supported me, and many, of you. We have much to do to stay economically competitive. Having implemented growth management 20 years ago, we now have a new challenge, and that is to make sure that our increasing demographics and population stay livable. That means that we have to be looking at housing affordability, transportation options, and delivering 21st century services that are forced by technology. I look forward to our discussion and to continuing to be your East Side advocate. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, we are right now on time. So, and again, we ask the candidates that we keep it to the 90-second limit, or if I see the need to condense it just a wee bit, we'll swing it to 60 seconds for each statement. Thank you. Okay, the first question goes to Jane Haig, and then we'll follow with Claudia. What are the top 3 issues at the county level that will be affecting downtown Bellevue and the greater East Side region? Jane?
Well, we have a lot of things that we do in county government, but I would say the top 3 were mentioned in my opening comments, and that is, first of all, that we have to have housing options and options that are affordable. We need to make sure that people are able to get to their jobs and housing in Bellevue, and that means transportation options. And we need to make sure that the budget in King County is sustainable. The services that you depend on for criminal justice, for administration, for law enforcement, for water quality, all depend on having a budget that is balanced and is sustainable. Those are issues. They're issues I've been working on. They're issues we're making progress with, and I look forward to continuing to tackle those issues through Sound Transit 3, through Metro's bus options, through a potential affordable housing levy that the council is taking a look at along with the executive. The council has a long history of affordable housing. Any of our surplus property parcels are first dedicated to affordable housing. We also transferred the Metro site to the city of Bellevue. And there was a great opportunity there, if the city council recognized it, to have affordable housing in downtown Bellevue. So there's many more opportunities to be working on these, and I will do them in collaboration with things that work and protect the neighborhoods in the greater East Side. Thank you.
Thank you. Claudia?
Thanks. I'm going to sit because we're having a conversation. I apologize. I hope that's okay with everyone. So the top 3 issues, as I see it, that at the county level that affect downtown Bellevue are very similar: transportation, housing, and job opportunity. I think these things are all related. What we have is a booming downtown and a booming East Side, where we have got in Bellevue 130,000+ people and even more jobs. People are coming and going, and it creates gridlock every day. We've got a housing affordability crisis on the East Side, which is why we've been working very hard at the Bellevue City Council on options. We opened a new affordable housing project here in downtown Bellevue with Lehigh just a few weeks ago. It was very exciting, the August Wilson Apartments. And in terms of job opportunity, I hope to have a little bit more than a few seconds to talk about our economic development efforts, because we are growing small businesses and attracting and retaining big businesses in Bellevue at a great rate. We have global companies opening here every day. Yesterday, we had 2 global companies open, one from Nepal, one from China. But the number one thing that I've been working on that we need to continue working on is transportation and traffic. We need to work on high capacity transit, bringing light rail here, as we have fought to do at the City Council, and doing it right. We need to have targeted roadway expansions like we've seen on 405 and on our downtown streets. We've implemented adaptive traffic signals, which is the most cost-effective thing you can do. For only a few $1 million, which is nothing in traffic terms, we've been able to improve our street capacity. So those are the things I would work on at the county level, and I thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you, ladies. And again, my mother taught me not to interrupt, but I'm going to ask that everybody keep their time within the time frame. Thank you. 2-part question. And again, these 2 words are beating through my mind as a head of a business: economic development. And in your view, and we'll start with Claudia on this one, in your view, what are some of the key initiatives that the King County Council should be prioritizing to foster economic development activities on the East Side? And how do these views and priorities set you apart from your opponent? And again, Claudia.
Thank you very much. So I mentioned before that the City Council has been focusing on economic development. I remember when Deputy Mayor Wallace first came on the council, it was his #1 priority, and he set up a committee and really ran at it hard. But we finally got traction in the last 2 years when he and I became the mayor and the deputy mayor. We've adopted an economic development plan. We staffed it. We're working on the important things like business relationships so that we can retain our great businesses. We are creating relationships. We started an incubator. We did all that in the first 18 months of our leadership. I think it would be great if the county council would partner with us on these initiatives. I think the cities are at the forefront. You see One Redmond and other groups working on economic development. I would love as a county council member to partner with the cities to make sure that we have a regional presence in accomplishing exactly the sorts of things that we've been doing at the city level. We've been really focused, for example, on global outreach and global attraction. You know, just yesterday we welcomed Windstone, which is a new capital investment company. We have got many people working on the oars at all times. I would join those people and be in those meetings and be working on economic development together with our cities as a county council member. Thank you.
Jane?
It's been my honor to be elected president of the National Association of Counties, where we would represent the issues that counties across the country, 3,000 of them, deal with on a day-to-day basis. I fought to bring an innovation seminar here to King County, and it begins tomorrow, where 500 of the largest counties in the United States will come here to witness what we're doing in terms of innovative policies that grow the economy, grow the workforce, and provide understandable and sustainable government. I'm very excited to have hosted that opportunity and to be sharing ideas that we are doing successfully with other counties, and to be learning from other counties about strategies that can work here. Where else would you get an opportunity to talk with major leaders from across the country, sharing ideas and building on that partnership? That's the kind of economic competitiveness that I hope to bring and continue to bring to King County. King County is the 13th largest county in the United States. And of the top populated counties, we're the 10th largest in growth. So we have a great opportunity to be competing not only nationally, but internationally. And we're taking advantage of partnering with our major competitors, or opportunities to partner with companies like Microsoft and Amazon, and find startup ways to bring additional startup companies here and to be attracting a diverse workforce. The partnership that we've got with China and Microsoft and the UW is absolutely incredible, and we look forward to partnering with that workforce.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's see a show of hands of people who ran into bad traffic and were here later than they thought they were. I know I was a little bit late. So, transportation is a hot topic around the region, and especially on the east side. And starting off with Jane, what are the specific transportation priorities that you would bring to the county council, and how are you going to work with your colleagues and the overall communities on the east side to successfully implement your new proposals? And again, we're rotating fairly here, and we're going to start with Jane.
So there's really not a lot of new proposals for transportation, but ones that are increasingly important to the east side follow in the wake of a failed Prop 1 Metro ballot. And the voters said no to $60 car tabs. So we on the King County Council, 5 of us, rolled up our sleeves and said, how can we save bus service without raising taxes? And we worked through the budget process, and we worked through a growing economy, and we saved 550,000 hours of bus service, much of which translates to better service here on the east side without raising your taxes. That's the kind of leadership that I think you want to see on your King County Council, leadership that recognizes your pocketbook and your transportation needs. We've got another opportunity with Sound Transit 3. And while I'm not on Sound Transit as a board member, I am following closely the options that are important to all of us in this 3-county growing Puget Sound region. We've got to make sure that we're protecting our sub-area equity, that we have transportation projects that not only protect the economy and provide good congestion relief, but also protect the neighborhoods. And I'm very concerned that Sound Transit 2 has unintended consequences, like closing the South Bellevue Park and Ride for over 5 years.
Thank you, and thank you for your words. Claudia?
Thank you. Well, of course, transportation is something that I've been working on very hard for a long time. I do serve on the Sound Transit Board. I am the chair of the Regional Transportation Policy Board, and so we've worked on everything from long-range planning to immediate implementation and everything in between. Our immediate big needs are twofold. We need to continue to work on the roadway system. It was a very big year this year. A lot of us really held hands and went to Olympia 3 years running and got that package passed, and we need to see those road projects roll out. Targeted improvements too, not just the expansions of 405, but there's the entrance at 124th, for a good example, that's put way out into the future. We need to work on getting those projects moved up in time, so we need to continue to work at the legislature. At Sound Transit on ST3, I've joined together with mayors across the east side, Mayor Marchione from Redmond, Mayor Butler from Issaquah, and others, to put together a package that connects the east side. We've done pretty well in ST2 at planning a system that will connect the east side to the regional system. In Sound Move 1, we put together the bus system that serves us today. ST3's got to be about connecting the east side. We have activity centers that need to be connected. 405 BRT, it's time to implement that master plan. It's time to connect Bellevue to downtown Kirkland and their job center. And it's time to make sure that we have the connections across the top of the lake, not just across the lake. I will say this, that those bus cuts that happened, 48% of them came from the east side. So I think we need stronger representation at the county council to protect our bus service and our transit.
Thank you both. The next question is, I monitor many of the campaigns that are going on in the communities on the east side. One word tends to come up quite a lot, transparency and openness, especially in public office. And starting off with Claudia, what specific steps will you take once elected to initiate access and openness of government, and how will you simultaneously protect the confidential information of your constituents?
Well, that's, of course, it's a really big issue, and it's a part of what we do every day. So we have our meetings, we have open public meetings, we have people come and talk to us, but it's not always a very satisfying way to engage in the government. We have one particular gentleman who likes to come down every Monday night. You know, I see people, you know who he is, our friend Mr. Zimmerman. But he's got a point, right? He's got a point. The point is about two-way communication. And maybe not exactly the way he would like us to do it, but we need to find a way to communicate in two ways. I, for one, have a lot of private meetings with people. I meet with groups all over the city all the time, every week. But that's also not a big public communication. We have tools that we have rolled out at Bellevue, more social media, more input back to us through a feedback loop on our Bellevue app. We need to leverage those ways to make sure people can tell us what they want to tell us, and we can be seen to be responding to them publicly. Nextdoor has been a great innovation in my community. I don't know about yours, but I'd love to see us using apps like that to communicate with each other better. I also think it's a really good idea to have widely publicized forums like this, and more of them, where we can come out and speak to you and answer your questions directly on the record. I will work and have worked very hard at being open and accessible to my constituents, and I will continue to do so as a county council member and work with you all to expand upon that.
Thank you. Jane?
As I mentioned in my opening statements, I'm all about making sure that government is accessible, accountable, and transparent. And we have done a lot over the past number of years to make sure that our government is accountable and accessible and transparent. This year, I started a series of town halls, and we had one last night in downtown Seattle on climate change. And we invited not only the public, but we invited them to do it via town hall and to give online testimony. We've been doing online testimony for our budget process for the past 15 years. It's really important to be focusing on the technology that we've got here in King County and making it work for government. And I authored, along with my colleagues on the budget leadership team, $12 million for alternative services. And we're looking at pioneering an opportunity for an app that will connect people from the Shorewood apartment complex to the downtown Mercer Island Transit Center with an app. There's more opportunities like that, but we need to protect privacy. And we're doing that as best we can. We need to stay abreast of the opportunities for privacy and protect ourselves against cyber theft.
Thank you. Next question. Downtown Bellevue prides itself on being the economic and cultural heart of the East Side. As our King County Council person, what will you do to advance this mission and to promote the growth of Bellevue and the East Side as a region? And we'll start with Jane.
One of my favorite subjects. I'm a committed supporter of the arts, and recognizing that arts and heritage are important for livability. I want to just make sure that you're all aware that because we were successful in paying off our stadium bonds early, we have an extra pot of money. It amounts to $26 million, and we're in the process right now of putting forward grants for 4 different levels of project. The East Side here, Tadauchi Center will ultimately benefit, Kids Quest will benefit, cultural facilities and arts and heritage projects in Kirkland and the greater East Side will potentially benefit from this. And that's not a cost to you. This is money that we've already saved. Cultural arts is an economic indicator, and it's part of what the people want and businesses want to be here and to locate here. So making sure that we've got a rich mixture of cultural and heritage and arts opportunities, and making sure that they're affordable is really important. We've got an opportunity for a cultural access Washington opportunity in King County, where in the next few years we'll be talking about putting forth a ballot measure that would potentially increase your property taxes, but it would give you greater access and your children greater access to museums, to arts facilities, to productions, and to participating, and they would be free for school-age children.
Thank you.
So this is one area where I think Councilmember Hague and I have a lot in common. I've also been a strong supporter of the arts and culture in our community. I've been the liaison to our Arts Commission for a number of years, and I'm really proud of the things that we've done since I've been mayor at the city to really promote the arts and culture, from big things like coming together to find a way to pledge $20 million to make the Tadauchi Center a reality. It's the biggest arts and culture contribution that our city has ever made in its history, and it's because it's been a dream of this city's for so long that we are willing to make that commitment. It also comes out of primarily at this point a pledge of transient occupancy tax, so not raising new taxes at the same time. We also were really proud to partner with Kids Quest and provide a significant, I think it was $2 million, right, in our last capital budget to make that a marquee downtown destination at the former Dorothy Weil Doll Museum. It's been such an amazing new institution in our community, and we're really happy to be partnering on that. We've also always supported BAM, but more recently, smaller, local, and diverse arts opportunities throughout the Bell Red and in our Maidenbauer Theater. I will also, as a council member, work on the Cultural Access Fund. I want to work with all of you to see what that is and what it means to the downtown, and make sure that it continues to advance our cultural access here in Bellevue and on the East Side. Thank you.
Thanks, Claudia. Okay, the next question, one which is pivotal with all of the communities on the East Side. Affordability, housing, and growth have been the major topic issues, with skyrocketing rent and wage stagnation since the recession. As a county council member, what will you do to improve the equity of the region while maintaining a robust economy where businesses can continue to prosper? And we'll start with Claudia.
Thanks. And again, one of the things about having candidates with a track record is you're going to hear a lot about what we have done, past performance being a good indicator of future performance. Again, in the last couple of years, our council has come together and worked very hard to get at this affordable housing. It's really a crisis. When you see rents and housing costs going up 30% or more year over year, people cannot keep up. They cannot afford to live here where they work. It exacerbates our traffic problems as well as impacting people's quality of life. So we've tried to take out as many tools in the toolbox that we have. We implemented a multifamily property tax exemption. We hadn't had one of those previously. That helps get the private sector building housing that people can afford. And it works. It's been done in Seattle, and we know it can work. We have, of course, partnered through Arch and provide significant monies through Arts and have built thousands of housing units in partnership with our other East Side cities. I personally have championed, and just yesterday we were talking about transit stations and the opportunities for transit-oriented development and affordable housing. I championed something called the READY Fund, a revolving fund with a small amount of public investment, about $5 million, which will ultimately leverage about $20 million in private investment to buy land. The land's expensive. That's why the housing's expensive, and that will help to build affordable housing near transit. And just finally, for this stage, I've also worked really hard as we do ST2 and ST3 to make sure we're putting affordable housing near the transit station so people can afford to live and get around. And that includes making a former plan for a surface parking lot into affordable housing at 130th in the Bell Red. Much more to be done, but we have the tools to do it.
Thank you, Claudia. Jane?
I agree with my opponent that past performance is an indicator of what you're going to be doing in the future, and I'm very proud to point out the major redevelopment that occurred at the South Kirkland Park and Ride, and that was in conjunction with the King County, with the City of Kirkland, and the City of Bellevue, who were the three major owners for that parcel. We needed to redevelop with a parking garage so that there were more parking spaces. That freed up the footprint for affordable housing. We partnered with Imagine Housing and Polygon Corporation to build LEED certified project that's not only market rate but affordable for, I believe it's 30 to 60% of the median income. It's good design, it's good building, and it solved a problem. That's the kind of solutions that we need. I actively worked in the legislature for House Bill 1223 and 2263 that deal with vulnerable populations. And we're looking at putting a ballot issue forward that will cite transit-oriented development within a half mile of park and rides. We're able to bond now and buy the land while it's still affordable and bond against future revenues. That's the kind of results I think you're looking for that build our workforce and foster competitive economy.
Thank you. And we will have the last session of the King County Council candidate part of this forum is 90-second closing statements from each of you, and we were almost on time. So we'll start with Jane, and then we'll finish up with Claudia. Again, if you could project yourself in every kitchen table on the east side, what would you say in 90 seconds?
Well, first of all, I would say a very heartfelt thank you for trusting me to represent you here in Bellevue and throughout the greater East Side over these past 20 years. We've had amazing challenges, from implementing growth management throughout King County with 39 other cities, to making sure that we've got sustainable budgets, to be dealing with the gnarly problems of transportation and affordable housing, to bringing an increasing population and a diversity together in a welcoming attitude. These continue to be the issues of the day while protecting our neighborhoods and making sure that we've got great opportunities for thriving education. So I just want to reiterate my opening comments about being your East Side advocate, bringing a history of results, working across the aisle with Republicans and Democrats by bringing my endorsements from business and labor together to help solve the problems that matter most to you.
Thank you.
So I would echo the thanks at the top, just to say, coming out early in the morning, listening to us, it really means a lot, because we're out here for months on end campaigning, and it's very nice to see people listening and asking your questions. I hope that we have an opportunity at some point before the end to talk to you all. I could echo many of the comments of Councilmember Hague. I've also been endorsed by Republicans and Democrats, business and labor, and all of that. But these, I am very proud of my endorsement list. Transportation organizations, all the environmental organizations who have gotten into the race, women's organizations, these are all third-party validators, right? These are people who tell you, this is an okay person, you can feel good voting for them. But we both have a significant track record sitting here. I urge you to look at our track record, especially in recent years. I have rolled up my sleeves and worked very, very hard on transportation to get light rail to come here in a way that works for Bellevue. I have been working on a plan for the future of transportation. This is the biggest challenge and the biggest risk to our continued economic success. We've made progress on affordable housing, as I outlined earlier. We've been doing all these things, working hard together, showing up every week to make this region a success. We need a council member who's going to show up at county council, who's going to be there and not be the council member with the worst attendance record, and not be the one with the least votes on record. We need somebody who's going to be there for us, plan with us, work with us, and make solutions happen. That's what I will do as a county council member, and I really appreciate your attention and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you both, and I'd like to thank them both for their service for King County and the East Side and Bellevue, and we appreciate your words today. And want everyone give them a quick hand, and we'll. We're going to quickly reset for the next phase of our conversation this morning with the Bellevue City Council candidates. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're about ready to start the second phase of our conversation this morning. We are only 5 minutes behind. So I ask that you charge your coffee cups. And we'll settle into the second part of our conversation. We're going to bring it a little bit closer to home, to Bellevue. And again, thank you for the Bellevue Downtown Association and for our candidates for being here this morning. And thank you all for your interest and your passion for the city of Bellevue and the East Side. We're going to stick with the same format, 90 seconds. And if I have to regretfully shut down the questions to 60 seconds, I will let you know. So I ask that everybody answer as succinctly and as pithily as possible and keep it under 90 seconds. Thank you. We're going to start off with opening statements with 90 seconds. And first of all will be John Stokes.
Well, good morning. All right. I'm really pleased to be here today. I'm going to have a debate with myself, and that'll be a lot of fun. No, I'm very, very pleased to be unopposed in this race and excited about the next 4 years. I think I bring proven, pragmatic leadership for all of Bellevue. I bring that to the job, and 4 years ago, and where did the time go? It went so fast, but I ran on a platform to bring balanced, bipartisan leadership to the council. From light rail to passing a sound and progressive budget, to improving public safety and protecting our neighborhoods, I'm proud of my contributions over the course of my first term for Bellevue, for today and a bright future tomorrow. As your council member, I will continue to work every day to ensure that Bellevue remains the best place to live, work, and play. I've been with BDA to 4 cities, and they're great cities, but I'm always glad to come back here, and we are going to continue to improve and be the best. We're really continuing on a journey to be the urban and culture center of the East Side. We think we are that today, even more so tomorrow. And what that means is we all have to work together. So I'm pleased to have the support of my colleagues, every one of the people sitting at this table who are on the council, Mayor Claudia Bellucci, Deputy Mayor Kevin Wallace, council members John Chelmanak, Conrad Lee, Glenn Robinson, Jennifer Robertson, and many, many other politicians on both sides of the aisle, and people in the community, and people from different perspectives.
Thank you, John. Yes.
Thank you.
And again, we ask that you keep it at 90 seconds. And next up for the opening statement is John Chelmanak.
Thank you very much. Well, I am John Chelmanak. I'm very excited about running for re-election to the Bellevue City Council. And that's because our council has really turned things around and we are working together again. You know, we did it by focusing on policy, not on politics, and on ideas, not on ideology. We've accomplished a lot in the past 2 years. Our decision to put strong leaders at the helm is paying off. Claudia and Kevin were absolutely the right choice as mayor and deputy mayor. And our other choice, Brad Miyake, highest ranking Asian American city manager in the country. We made him our city manager. He's turning things around. We developed a council vision statement, all working together. Bellevue welcomes the world. Our diversity is our strength. And you know what? We're putting our vision statement to work in the budget that we just passed. We really, truly mean it. And finally, our agreement with Sound Transit. When you come together as 7, we have them paying us money instead of the other way around. Now, who am I? Well, I've had successful careers in the private and public sector. Right now, I work for Waste Management as a senior manager. My wife, Lynn Semler, is an office manager at Bellevue High School. I have 2 daughters, one who's studying to be a nurse, one who's studying to be a junior in high school. That's tough. I bring future-focused, balanced leadership to the Bellevue City Council, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Don Davidson?
Yes, it's very nice to see you all here tonight, this morning. I'm very proud of my service that I've been able to serve Bellevue for some 3 decades. We took it from a bedroom community to the thriving international community we have today, and respecting and celebrating our diversity. We're more diverse than Seattle, which surprises a lot of people. I've always applied myself to prudent fiscal management. We have to make the money available. We do that from watching the budget. Actually, economic growth provides us more revenue every year to be able to fund the various social services and economic development. My first priority has always been public safety. If we can't if we can't secure the city, we shouldn't be running the city. And third of all, protect the environment. This is a city at a park. I really respect that. I had something to do with buying the land for both the Mercer Slough and the downtown park. So looks like my time's up. So thank you very much for coming, and we'll share some more ideas later.
Thank you, Don. And Michelle?
So my name's Michelle Hill-Horst, and I'm chair of the Bellevue Planning Commission. It's so great to see so many of your faces. Many of you have shared your vision for Bellevue's future and input with the commission. And I've been listening to you, and I hear it every day. The world is watching, and they're coming to us here in Bellevue. So what we do today will have a huge impact on Bellevue, on what our Bellevue and our neighborhoods will look like 10 years from now. Planning for a successful future takes trusted and proven leadership, but it also requires understanding the values we want to guide our future plans. As a married mom of 3 children and a longtime community volunteer, I've seen firsthand the positive change that can happen when we put public safety, economic vitality, and education opportunities first. And I believe Bellevue can lead the way with the best balance of job growth and the outdoor treasures we enjoy. As a mom, I want our neighborhoods to be safe, which is why the Bellevue firefighters have endorsed me. As a senior manager in the field of information technology, I want the high-tech sector and STEM opportunities to thrive and expand. And as a resident, I want our city and a park to be preserved so we continue to attract wonderful people who want to work, live, raise their families, and retire here in Bellevue. That's why I am seeking to be your next Bellevue City Council member for position 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Vandana?
So I can be short and sweet. If you were choosing the perfect council, your dream team, who would you choose? People who know parks, planning commission, developer, attorneys? We have that in spades on our council. So what else do you need? Someone who can build bridges, people of science, technology, people with unique backgrounds who bring diverse groups together to solve problems, fresh perspective, challenge assumptions. My experiences can help fill this gap. Why is this important now? People can't get out of their neighborhoods. They are worrying about safe intersections. A fire station we've been talking about for years is still not built. The fact that community has been telling the city for 20 years in surveys that there is a lack of affordable housing. This is a great city, but without new ways of thinking or solving problems, it's not enough. It's good to have these skills, but one also needs a passion for public service. And public service is in my DNA. My family served their community in 3 countries for generations. My grandfather worked for Gandhi, my aunt was a 2-time mayor of her town, and my parents were leaders in their community for 50 years, and they taught me that public service is a family tradition. Bellevue is a dream city and deserves a dream team. I look forward to sharing my experience and vision with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana. Next up is Lyndon Haywood.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jennifer Robertson, and I am your current Position 7 council member for the City of Bellevue. Sorry, I can't do the voice. In my time on the council, and before that the Planning Commission, I've approved funding for this project and that project and PTA and Girl Scout Cookie Drive and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, there is a point to this. Our current and ex-council members can pull decades of city achievements out and pretend that they are their own. And it's my role as a challenger in this election to make sure that these people are judged not on the achievements of our staff or of private enterprise, but on what they, in their specific role as council member, have done to improve Bellevue as a place to live, work, and spend time. Or, more pertinently, what they haven't done, and what they have promised to do, and what they should have done better in the last 10 years, 2 years, 250 years, 12 years, and about 8 years. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jennifer Robertson.
Thank you. I am Jennifer Robertson, and I'm running for re-election to the Bellevue City Council because I'm invested in this community, not because I want to be an entertainer or do this as a hobby. I chose Bellevue. I am a lifelong East Side resident, but I chose Bellevue, like many of you, because it's a special place. We have wonderful schools, strong, safe community, a fabulous built and natural environment. And my husband Scott and I chose to come here to raise our family because it's a wonderful city to live. We moved here in 2002, and since 2003, I've been serving the city of Bellevue. First for 6 years on the Planning Commission, including a term as chair, as well as co-chair of the Light Rail Best Practices Committee. And it was that work and the work in helping to shape the city of Bellevue that we see today that got me to run for council in 2009. I want to keep Bellevue exceptional. It's continuing to draw people here, but we don't want to be a victim of our own success. Growth is a real challenge, and we want to make sure that that growth is channeled in such a way so that we have a better Bellevue for my children, for your children, for Lyndon's children, and the generations after that, so that it continues to be a fabulous place to live, work, start a business, raise a family, and retire. We want to keep Bellevue exceptional. I ask for your vote, and I look forward to serving another 4 years on the City of Bellevue.
Thank you all. Okay, we will now get to work, and we have a number of questions, and I'd like the panel to focus on what they bring to the table and what they offer to the city and what they will offer to the city. So, first question: what are the top 3 issues at the city level that is affecting downtown Bellevue and the greater East Side region as a whole? And we're going to mix it up a little bit following this round, and I'll be rotating all of the sequence of who answers first. So again, we'll start with John Stokes. And again, what are the top 3 issues at the city level affecting downtown Bellevue and the greater East Side region?
I think the biggest issue facing us is what are we going to be when we grow up? And that means we're in a great place right now, but we're facing, everybody knows the issues. We have transportation, we have growth, we have lack of facilities, we need more parks and all those kind of things. What we need is there. What we don't have is a full commitment to making these things happen. We've gone a long way, and we're working on it. One of the things we're doing with downtown and including all those issues, and Kevin Wallace and I have been talking about this, and it's been a passion of mine to bring the city together and get our staff and the council and the community working together in a more holistic way, in a sense. And for downtown livability is more than just the narrow focus we have. It encompasses all of the connections and where we go, how we make it work better, and it also really entails working with our communities and doing the sub-area planning that we need to do and we put off for a long time, bringing all those elements together so that this city not only just continues in a good way we're going, but we are the urban cultural center of the East Side. We need to get pace, we need to get the roads, the whole transit system work together, and we need to get downtown livability done and done well, and that's what I'm going to work on.
Thank you, John. John Chelmanak?
The 3 issues, I would say the first one is stay ahead of the growth that's coming to the East Side and to Bellevue in particular. That is going to be the challenge for the Bellevue City Council in the future. There's significant growth and significant construction of our infrastructure. It's already underway in putting pipes under the ground to make sure we've got the capacity to have the growth that we need. The second key issue, and I am hearing this from absolutely everybody, we have got to make housing more affordable. We've got to do that in unique ways. It's not going to be solved simply by doing a levy. It's going to be done by rolling up our sleeves, going into neighborhoods, talking to people about what they want their neighborhood of the future to look like, especially in the neighborhoods where there's a challenge in terms of a lot of outside investment coming in and doing institutional investment like we saw in Spiritwood, rather than investing in homes for families. Finally, it is public safety. We have a very, very safe East Side, but it's not going to stay that way unless we, again, stay ahead of it with smart policing. I think our new police chief, Steve Milet, is doing a fabulous job. For me, I think this is the East Side century, the chance for our cities to come together and be the economic engine driving us. That's why the mayors of the 5 major East Side cities support my election.
Thank you, John. Don Davidson?
Yes, I appreciate everybody's comments. I don't disagree with a lot of them. We have to prepare for growth. The infrastructures, the waters, the sewers, the storm and surface drainage, and of course the roads. Multimodal approach. I was one of the first to vote for the MOU on Sound Transit, and we put together a committee to work in collaboration with Sound Transit, and several of those people are here today, and they worked in cooperation, and we promoted and do have Sound Transit coming to Bellevue. Now, on the other hand, I did have some comments at the last time the MOU, and because they didn't solve all the problems that I'd like to see solved. The other thing is, of course, affordable housing. It's a difficult issue to do. I think I've promised that. Speaking of Lyndon's comments, probably about every time I've ran in the last 20 years. However, it's a difficult issue because of people like to live here, and the property values are extremely high. So we have ARCH that we can approach affordable housing issues, and we are now working on a plan, transit-oriented development, that I would rather see it more distributed throughout the community, and I'm not so sure if transit-oriented development is the only way to go. Thank you.
Michelle Hillhorst?
So number one, I think one of my passions is definitely that public safety component. We've talked for so many years about a downtown fire station, yet still it's not been sited and we've not fully funded it. The buildings are going up nonstop, but we are not accommodating those citizens and those workers by providing them the safety that they deserve of having those firefighters start closer to the base where they need to get to an emergency at the top of one of those high rises. I have a very personal experience, and I totally understand every second counts in an emergency, every minute counts in an emergency, and that cannot be pushed down the road any longer. Everyone who works and lives in downtown deserves to have the public safety that we should have as a world-class city. Number two, transportation. Number one thing that I'm hearing on the doors. Number one thing that you hear from everyone, and I know that's a challenge here in downtown, we need to make sure that we have a good focus when light rail does come through, that we prioritize our roads so people can get in and out of downtown Bellevue. We can't close up shop while we build that infrastructure. It does need to come, but we need to make sure that Bellevue continues to thrive and the downtown continues to thrive while we do that. Number three, affordable housing. This is an issue that we have been tackling on the Planning Commission. We have been working with property owners and developers to try to make some changes in the code to allow more flexibility for them to build so they're more efficient in their building and they can pass on those savings to people that would like to come live in the downtown area as well. We've also been working with some of our religious institutions, so we're getting creative, and I would continue to work on that as a city council member.
Thank you. And again, we ask that you keep it under 90 seconds. Vandana?
So the top 3 issues, I believe, are growth, livability, and housing. And you've heard a lot of comments about that. First, I believe we must invest in our transportation and transit infrastructure to mitigate growing traffic issues. It's true, it is the thing, I agree with my opponent, that we hear at the doors. But part of this can also be a technology and broadband infrastructure, so more people could, if they need to or choose to, work from home with higher connectivity. Second, we must better implement increased housing options downtown and in our neighborhoods so people have a safe, nurturing community, even as we grow and change. And third, development can't come without a transparent and solid plan that ensures our vibrant neighborhoods have a voice in the decisions that affect them. It is vital that we manage our growth wisely while keeping the heart of our communities healthy and strong. The heart of our community are people, neighborhood, and innovation. When we're talking about the downtown, sometimes things that are right for the downtown are not necessarily what's right for Bridle Trails or Lake Hills. And so I certainly advocate for local voice option for zoning and other issues where possible. Livability is also incredibly important, and we hear about safety, we hear about people wanting to be able to connect with their communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Lyndon?
Well, I'm glad you two brought it back to downtown, which was the original question. You asked for 3 issues, or the top 3 issues affecting downtown. And the people I speak to, I'm actually going to give you 4. The people I speak to from downtown say congestion, noise, rocketing rents, and my last one is an increased chance of being burnt in your bed or office petition due to the city dragging its feet on a downtown fire station. This was a big issue 4 years ago when you, Michelle, ran and you, John, or both Johns ran. It's disappointing it hasn't had any traction. But to be honest with you, downtown is an area where the city has done really well. Because what you've done is you've set up this Downtown Livability Advisory Committee, and you've attached a number of our decent staff to this committee and given them some funding and said, here, you sort out your downtown problems. And that is the way government should work. And it's the kind of model that I'd like to see rolled out into some more of our neighborhoods too.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Thank you. Well, all of the issues that I see in the downtown, all 3 have to do with growth and the challenges of growth. First, we need to make sure that we not only have the human capital, but the actual built capital to serve the downtown, meaning we need to have the public safety resources. I'd like to bring back the bike patrol, which was a great resource to be nimble through that traffic and people to serve the downtown. The fire station we are working on, UPS doesn't say they move at the speed of government as their tagline. Unfortunately, we don't always move as fast as we would like on that. Transportation, the light rail, 8 years of construction is going to be a significant challenge. Making sure we keep the thoroughfares open for cars, buses, bikes, and people to get into and out of downtown, whether they live there, whether they work there, or whether they want to spend their money there. We need to make sure that they can get into and out of downtown during those 8 years of construction. Finally, of course, the variety of housing types. Bellevue has a wide variety of housing types. Not a lot are affordable to the average school teacher. We want to be able to continue to house people like Russell Wilson, who's one of Bellevue's newest residents, as well as the school teachers that teach our kids in the local schools. That's something that we are working on, and I look forward to continuing to do so in my next term.
Thank you. Okay, the next question. Looking to the west. The City of Seattle has proposed the Move Seattle levy to make substantial pedestrian, bike, multimodal infrastructure improvements to deal with the substantial growth and development happening in the region. What do each of you see Bellevue doing to address these same growth issues, and what is the solution going forward? And we're going to mix it up a little bit and start with Don Davidson.
Thank you very much. I don't agree with a lot of what Seattle's doing. Certainly driving up the price of parking and having people not have a place to park in this mobile society doesn't seem the right direction to go. I've watched Seattle over the years, and they seem to be moving more in a government-controlled rather than listening to the people and what they need and how they need to fix their issues. I happen to grow up in Queen Anne Hill, and certainly have paid a lot of attention as Seattle has developed along with Bellevue. So anyhow, I do not agree with the policies. They have a huge cost that they're going to do. However, they're taking lanes away from traffic and they're putting it into bicycle lanes. I almost got killed by a bicyclist, unable to stop. On 3rd Avenue, there's a complex of lights that it takes a mastermind to figure out when you can go left or not. If you go left at the wrong time, you'll end up with a bicycle over your hood. So I don't think they're on the right track. I think we're on the much better track of having a combination of mobility, both from multimodal public transit and circulation in the downtown.
Thank you. And John Chominak, same question. What do you see Bellevue doing to address these same growth issues, and what's the solution going forward?
Thanks. Don was trying to keep the microphone away from me there. So, we are facing obviously a lot of growth issues, as is the city of Seattle. Seattle seems to answer everything with a levy. I don't think that is the first place that you should go. But we do need to make sure that we have a place to get investment in our transportation system. We have a vehicle to do that. That is a transportation benefit district. We've talked at the council about implementing that. We really need to, I believe, put that into the toolbox that is available to us for transportation. We need a balanced transportation system. We're putting a ton of money into roads here, but we also need to have transit. I'm serving on the Metro Transit Task Force right now. One of the new things they're going to be moving ahead with is alternative services. I think we should be taking a very key, close look at that. Rather than have one of those 40-foot or 65-foot buses running through the neighborhood, there are ways to have much smaller vehicles going through our neighborhoods, serving us and connecting us to the transit backbone that is coming to this city, and it will arrive in 2023.
Okay, thank you, John. The next, the same question goes to our next set of candidates, starting with Vandana and then Michelle.
We're ready, I know. So keeping goods, people, and commerce moving is vital to our quality of life and our economy. And we must increase transportation options and ease congestions, as you've so well heard. I will advocate for, I guess I fully support the path of light rail to the east side because we need multimodal options, and will advocate for increased bus rapid transit access for all of Bellevue's neighborhoods because access is really important, and because voters have repeatedly supported light rail and transportation choices. I have to say that, we talk about roads and we need to work with our state and work in a regional manner. It's very important that we have a regional vision for our transportation because people who come to Bellevue, we grow by thousands of people every day, just in people coming to work here. So we're not just affected by what we do in the city, but what happens in the region. I'm also excited because mobility is one of the questions we talked about, pedestrian mobility. I'm excited about ideas like the BNSF rail to trail conversion. I think it's a pretty creative opportunity to connect our community and our neighborhoods, which is our strength, and provide really interesting options for commerce, for arts, and for people to connect with one another and enhance quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle?
So multimodal is a term that I have become very familiar with, as it's a term that we've put into the most recent comprehensive plan that was just approved by council. So multimodal is definitely in Bellevue's future. And that's because we listened to what people wanted. We listened to, they want different options to get around Bellevue, through the downtown, through the neighborhood, such as that. And so one of the things that we're working on in downtown livability is how do we create more of those pedestrian corridors through all the mega blocks to make it more livable, more friendly. Also, people would like to bike more. And so how do we create more bike options? Not necessarily restriping all the roads, but how do we create more grade-separated bike options for commuters? And frankly, I think it'd be great if we have more bike options for the family, for recreation. as well. One of the things too, some of my fellow commissioners and I have talked about on the Planning Commission is we would love to have an opportunity to work with Sound Transit. When they bring light rail through Bellevue, could they pour a little bit of extra concrete to the side and create a commuter path that would go alongside the light rail? So there is a huge opportunity where we're not connected in the middle of the city from a bike proportion. And so I think there's a great opportunity to make a connection to the buses, to the stations and things like that. So I would work on issues such as that to find great ways to stretch our transportation dollars. And I agree with Mr. Chelmanak, not necessarily run to a levy first to accomplish those goals.
Okay, thank you. Same questions. We'll start with Lyndon Haywood. Lyndon, what do you see Bellevue doing to address these same growth issues, and what do you see as the solution moving forward?
You were talking about transportation growth when you first asked the question. Is that right?
Yes. Multimodal infrastructure improvements and pedestrian and bike improvements as well.
Well, you know, some of you in this room came here in a Lexus, and some of you came in a Nissan Leaf, and some in a Subaru or a battered old Kia. Well, that last one's quite unlikely. But my choice of vehicle's sat outside, and it's got shiny fenders and two pedals sticking out the sides. And I chose that vehicle not because of its zero emissions or its fitness benefits or its massive moonroof, but because much of the time, and for most of my journeys, it's quicker than your Porsche. But unlike your Porsche, as soon as I cross into Bellevue city limits, my vehicle suddenly gets twice as dangerous to be in. And for that, the lack of a stripe of paint, a handful of shared lane markings or some intelligent signage, I hold our past and current councils fully responsible. Responsible because they failed to push for separation between cars, bikes and pedestrians on our major roads, and failed to hold our staff responsible and for not funding and building out our pedestrian and bicycle plan, which is now 6.5 years old.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Thank you. Bellevue does have a lot of transportation plans and a regional vision, and we're working on all the different modes, from working in Olympia to get 405 funded, which we were successful at, to making sure light rail comes in a way that's really effective, to our transportation plan to make sure we have abundant access for people on the buses, as well as making sure that we build out our new roads next to and near light rail connecting downtown. The Northeast 4th Street from 116th to 120th is about to open. So we're working on all of that. But with the MOU that we signed for light rail, that has necessarily put a larger share of our transportation dollars, which are not unlimited, into building out infrastructure that is related to or near light rail. That has put some of the neighborhood projects on a little bit of a slower path. I have been wanting, as a mom who walks her kids to school and someone who's in the neighborhoods without sidewalks, I've been wanting to do more of those neighborhood projects because it isn't all about downtown. So therefore, I've been advocating that the council look to ideas such as a transportation benefit district, but something that we send to voters, because I don't believe in asking people for a lot of extra money without getting their permission and buy-in. Having a good balanced project list that deals with our growth centers and our neighborhoods and our pedestrians. At the rates we're going, we'll build out our sidewalk network fully in 1,000 years. That's a little too long. I won't be here to enjoy it. I'm working on this. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll finish that up with John Stokes.
Actually, I think we're going in a really good direction. I know it's easy to say we should do more, and I could, I've only been here 4 years, and I think we made a lot of progress. It does take money, it does take investment, it does take will of the people, and whether we do it with a levy or a transportation benefit district or out of our regular funding, we can do it. We just have to have the will. One of the things we don't have, frankly, is a good, strong, robust discussion from the community. I know Mr. Haywood has come forward, other people in the bike community is very strong, but we need to hear more in terms of the community. What do you really want, and do you want to step it up, and will you be willing to go with this and make the investments? Overall, we need to do a better job, and we're working really hard at it, on the transportation and with the cars, the roads, and integrating with Sound Transit and other forms of transportation. And we are working on the bike lanes. We may be coming late to this, but I think we've done a lot in the last couple of years to really push on that, and we need to work together to continue to do that. So it all takes the community doing it. If we're not doing as fast as you want us to, talk to us. But we are working hard on this, and I think you read the plans, we're trying to put them into place. And that's what I will continue to work on for the next 4 years in this area.
Okay, thank you. And again, reminding the panel that since Bellevue's inception and incorporation in 1952, Bellevue has always looked to the future. And I want to remind the panel that the past is the past, and we are here today to find out what you will do in the future as we move forward. So I want your ideas, and I want your passion, and I want what your plans are if you're in these elected positions. So the number 3 question. The Downtown Livability Initiative, which is currently going through the Planning Commission with council direction, is one of Bellevue's top priorities. What do you hope to see accomplished through this proposal once it's adopted? And we'll start with Michelle Hillhorse.
Perfect. So the downtown livability is coming through the commission right now, and it's definitely been exciting to see because it was almost a multi-year effort done by downtown business owners and downtown residents and things such as that. So what we're reviewing right now is we hope we achieve that outcome that is desired by the CAC for that downtown livability. Public open spaces. They would like, to have more amenity incentives for the building heights. We want to make flexible buildings. We want to maybe get away from the mega blocks and maybe create slimmer, taller buildings that allow for the daylighting and more open spaces. We want a lot of green spaces. What we also heard as well is that walkability component as well. So instead of having to go to the end of one of those mega blocks, how do we create the mid-block crossings as well, and also be able to cut through those blocks to the next area as well. So those are the things that we've definitely heard that we're reviewing in the downtown livability. And also the traffic component, the parking component, those are very important to people getting in and out of Bellevue, and we still want to make sure that we attract people to come into Bellevue to shop at our stores, to eat at our restaurants. So we have a ways to go on this, but I'm very excited because I think when the downtown livability portion is complete, it's going to be exciting. We're going to welcome the world here in Bellevue, and we want to make it a memorable city, a memorable skyline, and we want it to create it so it becomes a beacon here in the Pacific Northwest.
Vandana?
Thank you. Can you hear me? So no one really took up with my idea of zip lines. I always thought that would be really cool to be zip lining around Bellevue downtown, but that's okay. Maybe that's a future thing. What do you think, Bill? Anyway, we need to make sure that we're maintaining qualities that make this such a great place to live and raise a family. And I think that's becoming more important in the downtown, right? Because we have businesses and we have people, we have residents. And there has to be a balance in that. And often when you need balance, you also need real input. You need to have time with people to hear what their thoughts are. A couple of years ago, I was involved in one of the tours that went downtown, and a lot of what Michelle's talking about is really true, to be able to make it, instead of feeling like you're in a fishbowl with big blocks, to be able to feel like you're walking through your neighborhood, and it's an urban neighborhood and it's different. But we have a lot of really great ideas that are coming forward from the community. Sometimes the community discussion is a little bit messy, but it also provides really great options for us to work in a balanced way with business and with residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Jennifer Robertson and then Lyndon Haywood.
Thank you. The plan we have in place today was set in the 1980s, and it's about half built out and about half occupied, and it served us really well. It was called the wedding cake, where it would be lower at the outside and taller in the center, and what we're seeing is it's starting to look like a wedding cake. And as it gets built out, we may end up having what I call the Great Wall of Bellevue around the margins if we have a 1 FAR in the marginal area around the downtown. I personally don't think that will make the full build out of downtown Bellevue and the people that live outside the downtown borders very happy if it's actually fully developed that way. So I'm looking forward to seeing better design, taller, slimmer buildings at the margins where there be more open space, design that will make sure that you have light and view from more areas, including neighboring buildings that already exist. This is our fastest growing neighborhood. It went from 500 to 10,000 in the last decade. So we need to make sure that it's a livable place, not just safe with a high quality built environment, but a place where people can walk and get outside with the park, et cetera. We need to make sure that we have the facilities in downtown, including transportation in the schools, to serve the people that are living there. Because let me tell you, people are raising kids in downtown, and this district is planning a school. We also have to keep in mind the transportation. We're going to more than double the trips into and out of downtown in the next 20 years, so we need to make sure that those are done safely and as efficiently as possible, because that is part of quality of life as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haywood?
So what would I like to see come out of this livability initiative? People's the answer. I want, I just mentioned it earlier on, how I really like the way that we've reached out to the people downtown and asked them to build out their downtown. And I want people to feel that they are able to physically influence their city and their community and to see results based on their input. And what I want to see is in 2 years' time, I want to see somebody come out of this downtown livability initiative and the advisory committees and say, yeah, I've done this. I'm ready for a run for council. I want to be up there because, to be honest, and I'm not being disparaging from the people on this panel, but, you know, 4 of us, and for the want of a handful of votes, John Stokes as well, we were all deigned to be unsuitable for a place on the council in the past. I think this process needs to be more inclusive. And I think, well, I really hope there's a real champion for downtown come out in 2 years' time.
Thank you. John Stokes?
It's an interesting one to follow, but, you know, I think we have before us with the downtown livability piece the most significant defining moment for the city going forward. And as I mentioned earlier, Kevin and some of the other people in council, the whole council, we've been talking about this, and I think I'm the Planning Commission liaison, so I'm working very closely with the Planning Commission to work this through, and we're taking certain parts of it ourselves to look at. Council's ultimately going to make the policy decisions after we get the technical work and the ideas and the more input from the Planning Commission. But what and we've had a lot of great ideas, and I think we all know what we need to do in this. What I'm interested in, and I can do this because I don't have to show you that I know all these things versus my opponent or whatever, I'm interested in the leadership aspect of how we make this work and how we make it actually happen in Bellevue. And I think we have the opportunity to do that in the next, I hope it's not 2 years. I said before, we're never going to have something take 5 years to go through the Planning Commission. We ought to be able to take big issues like this and do them in a rational time period. And I think we're working on that. What we do need, again, and you're sitting here and you're the Bellevue Downtown Association and your people are movers and shakers and connectors in the community, you need to really work with us and make sure that we do this job well and come in and talk with us. Don't be shy, don't wait to see what we're gonna do and what we're gonna say. Come in and really work with us. If we don't take advantage of this opportunity now, we will lose in the long run. But we have the opportunity. To me, everything is a challenge and an opportunity. We have a great challenge, we have an opportunity.
Thank you, John.
And this is now the time to make it work. Thank you.
Okay, John Chelmanak, and then finish the question up with Don Davidson.
I remember the holes. I remember the holes in the ground. So remember, it's not always so bright. That's why it takes good stewardship to make downtown work. Mr. Freeman did an absolutely fabulous job taking over one of those and turning that building to the outside to get it out to the street so that people were energized to be in downtown Bellevue. I am a resident of downtown Bellevue. Those of us in the neighborhoods on the side of the downtown now feel very much a part of the downtown. We love it. So what do I want out of livability? Number one, I'm going to judge it by how the human being feels, how that person reacts to what is out there on the street. Are they safe? Do they feel like you can go and walk through downtown Bellevue? Is it a comfortable, joyous, fun experience? I'm going to let other people think about the architecture. My brother happens to be one, so I know a little bit about it. I think we had a very, very good plan. Anything that changes that plan has got to improve the pedestrian experience. There is one thing that absolutely, positively has to come back to our downtown. Bring back the Dairy Queen.
Okay, Don?
That was the cause of my weight gain in the first place. Anyhow, I've been thinking about this, and by the way, experience does form our minds to address future issues. And I was wondering if our commentator was talking about me, seeing I have some experience. Something I've talked about for a long time, and that's parking in downtown. I'm looking directly at Patrick here. I've suggested that we address it head on and that we do the quadrant parking garages that we have so longly talked about, but nobody stepped to the plate. We could have a circulator that would allow us to park once, not drive on our roads, keep them open for the open space and the transportation in the downtown that we so dearly want. And I've hopefully now we can address that issue of quadrant parking. That means in the southwest corner, the southeast corner, the northwest corner, and northeast corner, having parking facilities that would be connecting by a circulator. Anyhow, that's my idea for the future.
Okay. And time marches on, so we're going to have to cut it short just a little bit. The last question is one that we also asked our King County Council candidates, but I think bringing it home to Bellevue with each individual member here gives it a little added meaning. So Bellevue has always prided itself on being the cultural and the economic heart of the East Side. And what will you do as a city council member to promote cultural activities and a sense of community in downtown Bellevue? And we'll keep your answers at 60 seconds because I want to make sure that you guys have your closing statement. We're going to start off with Jennifer Robertson.
Thank you. So yes, Bellevue is the economic and cultural engine of the East Side, and it is really important to our quality of life that we continue to lead in that way. Tadeucci Center is something that I was very proud to support and to help fund that and keep it going. If you haven't donated to that privately, please consider it. We are looking forward to seeing that project done as soon as possible. We also have been working on a sense of community, which was part of the question. And that doesn't just have to do with the arts and the culture, but it has to do with getting all these people who are coming to Bellevue, whether they were born here, whether they moved from across Lake Washington, or whether they moved from across the world, to have a sense of the shared community of Bellevue. Our diversity plan is part of that. We are engaging people all over the city, both in English and in foreign languages, to get them involved with each other and with the city, because we have a wonderful city. We are a growing, busy city, but we are also still a very small town in many ways, and I personally want to keep that sense of community. It's drawn me here, and it's one I strongly support. Thank you.
Thank you. And Lyndon Haywood, 60 seconds.
Question again, please, Bill.
It's Bellevue prides itself on being the cultural and the economic heart of the East Side. And what will you do as a city council member to promote cultural activities and a sense of community in downtown Bellevue?
I think that's interesting what you say there, because you say Bellevue prides itself. But to many of us in greater Bellevue, I'd prefer to call it, Bellevue means this little square downtown. And when this whole area was built up, Bellevue did just mean a small area downtown. I come from Lake Hills, and it's very different. You take downtown Bellevue out of Bellevue, and you've got a completely different city. So I think what's important is that people from the smaller neighborhoods in which they live feel that they can contribute to their community as a whole and feel that they have a say in decisions which are made about our city as a whole. And to start off by having a look at our political process, which is like 60, 70 years old now, and think, well, is there a way that we can modernize this? Is districting the right way to go, rather than just lumping us all in the same pot? Is that going to make us all feel that we can contribute a little bit more? Then
Thank you.
I think that's the way to go.
Thank you. John Stokes?
this council and the community really have a lot of priorities, and we're working on those. And the top ones in terms of cultural and downtown, obviously, is the Performing Arts Center. Tadeuchi is a big, big, important piece, and one that I championed from the beginning, and I'm really, really proud that we're going to actually make it happen. It is going to happen. I've already put my order in for my tickets for the first performance, and let's get that done. The other is the light rail and the station downtown and the whole piece that really makes it an urban center and a architecturally significant place to be. And that's, again, something I worked real hard on and put it through with our process, and I think it's going to be great for downtown. And the last is really something nobody's mentioned, but it has a lot to do with the cultural, is the UW Chinese University thing and the Bell Red corridor and the whole Bell Red piece with Spring District and all these other pieces that build us out, and that's going to be a connection to downtown. So we're on the path.
Thank you, John. John Chelmanak, same question.
Well, I agree it's not just about the downtown. I think that when the Strawberry Festival was moving from the downtown park to Crossroads, they weren't sure it was going to make it. I don't think we could get them back into downtown anymore. That is a fabulous festival. So it is about the entire city. I see a lot of, for downtown, what's really successful are small events that draw people together. The food trucks at Ashwood Park. That was a great event. My wife and I enjoyed that tremendously. So, you know, my culture is a little lower brow than most people, but I've got to tell you, I'm pleased to support Tadeuchi Center. It's absolutely necessary. There are other places where we need culture. One of those, again, I think as John pointed out, is the Spring District. I like the fact that apartments are developing there, and probably the first commercial development is a brew pub. That's great. We need a walkable, livable, staggerable area in the city.
Noted. Thank you. Don Davidson?
Yeah, I thank you for the question. I've been working on what I call the Heart of Bellevue, which is a foundation set up that would address historic society needs, a museum. We have the Kids Quest. We have the Taniguchi Center, and there's a lot of facilities that could use a foundation set around the heart of Bellevue. We have great single-family neighborhoods. We've got great business. Now we got to address the culture. I've teamed up with Stanko Milov, who is the lead dancer at the Pacific Northwest Ballet for a number of years, and now is teaching leadership through the arts. And he's working with the Bellevue Youth Theater currently. We've contacted the Seattle School District, and we've contacted Mary Pat, I know you're in the room someplace, to talk about this concept of a foundation.
Thank you, Don. Michelle Hillhorst, same question.
So yes, the Tadeuchi is going to be amazing, and I think it's also going to give us a lot of opportunities for, you know, public efforts as well as bringing more of these cultural events to Bellevue and downtown. You know, as an English second language speaker, my parents were immigrants in this country, and you can grow up a bit isolated in that way because your parents have a heavy accent. People treat you a little bit different. So what I would like to do is, when I get on council, is I very much want to be a liaison to some of our newest members here to this country and to Bellevue as well. I think the more that we can do that, the more that we can learn. I think it does make us a richer society as well. I know my children, we have a neighbor who is Muslim, and just my children playing with their children and learning all the things and traditions that they did through Ramadan, that's making me richer because it's teaching me to go and do research and to understand what my neighbors are doing and understanding what their beliefs are. And so I think whenever we can integrate that, and I would absolutely love to be at the front of the line as we welcome the world.
Thank you. And Vandana?
Thank you. So you're asking about the cultural and economic center or heart of the East Side. And the two words that came to my mind were culture, of course, and innovation. So I'll talk about innovation first. I mean, we really, truly are an innovative city, and we're growing and have been growing from a suburb to a regional center. But we haven't quite yet built that innovation ecosystem yet. I think that we have the chance to do that with the GIX school, with Bellevue College, with UW. There's a lot of educational ways to do that, and also to attract industry that we have been, but do it in a plan that, again, allows for a regional vision. Startup hub, if it's in Bothell, you can have a medium-sized company here in Bellevue that might then move to Seattle. And the downtown plays a key role in that, right? Because it is one of the places where density grows. But culturally, there's jazz festivals. There's the farmers market. There are ways people connect, and we're doing things at crossroads like conversations, cultural conversations to bring people together. And I just want to add the BNSF rail corridor as well, because I think our communities need to be connected. Thanks.
Okay, everybody, I will ask that you indulge me and stray away from your cell phones. And if you can allow us another 7 minutes, we're going to have closing statements, and we're going to limit them to 60 seconds each. And we will start with John Stokes.
Well, I think it's been a really good conversation here today, and I think you can see that we have a lot of really strong people who have good ideas, the whole group here, and we have a lot of plans. We have more words than I think the whole encyclopedia in terms of what we want to do and where we're going to go. And I think the real crucial issue is how do we get there? How do we implement these things? And that's what I think what I've been trying to do, and one of the things that I think I bring to the council is really working together with everybody and working with Kevin and Claudia, and part of my job is making sure we all continue to work together, and they've done a good job of following along, so that's good. No, seriously, it is important that we have all of these ideas out, but what is really important is that we get together and work together, and we will do that. And I want to take the last moment to thank Kemper Freeman and other developers in this city who are doing these kind of things. All we're talking about here is how do we make it better from what they've done and what the BDA has done. Thank you.
Thank you. John Chelmanak.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning, and thanks to the BDA, and thanks to my opponent, Don Davidson. He has been a terrific individual serving the city for many years. Don, I figure we've had about 450 dinners together. That's a lot. You become family. I wish he wasn't running against me, but I have to run my campaign. I'm future focused. I am looking to make this city literally the best city in the United States. Being named the second most livable city, not good enough. We want to be the first. Being named the second best city to start a business in, not enough. We want to be the first. We want to compete for that. We cannot spend a ton of time looking at the past. We have to look toward our future. So things like affordable housing, transit, roads, that's what is important to this city, and it's what I'll bring for 4 more years to the Bellevue City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Don Davidson.
Yeah, I've been a little nervous up here because I can't say anything in a minute and a half. It takes me usually about 2 minutes, and then now you cut me down to a minute, and I got to say goodbye to all you people. But I do thank you for coming today and listening. I will ask you for your support. I need the votes, and you could always send money. You know how that works. And never forget to ask for money. Isn't that right, Kemper? Yeah, you got that. Anyhow, thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Okay, Michelle Hillhurst, 60 seconds.
I'm excited for what the future holds for us. With the work that we've been doing on the commission and the work that we did on the comprehensive plan, I am so excited for the future and the future that Bellevue Voices have created and the input on how they would like to see this city grow and prosper as a leader in this region. I was at the table when we created the plan, line by line, creating Bellevue's blueprint for our future, and I am exceptionally well prepared to help lead us into that next decade. I have a proven track record of coming to the table and willingness to put in the time to serve, to learn, and to build relationships and collaborate for worthy and valued income. I want to thank the BDA for having us this morning, and thank you to Bill for the great moderation, and thank all of you for being such great, engaged citizens. Please come visit us at the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Vandana?
Thank you all so much for being here today, and to the BDA. Bellevue welcomes the world. We've certainly heard that. I've talked about a diversity of ideas for most of my campaign, but I want to remind people that we are a city that have residents who are 42% ethnic and 30% foreign-born. This brings strength and diversity to our community that enriches us all. We are a dream city that deserves a dream team. It is vital that we manage our growth wisely while keeping the heart of our community healthy and strong: people, neighborhood, innovation. I will work to connect all members of our great community and collaborate with local neighborhoods and regional partners to bring fresh ideas, experiences, and transparency to the work of the Bellevue City Council. Please check out my website to learn more at vandanaslatter.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haywood?
So thanks for all coming out to listen to me for some reason. So a number of people have asked me why I don't run a more conventional campaign, and before I go, I'd like to address that. Earlier on, Jennifer, I got to say I thought your attitude was a little bit patronizing, and if you don't know what I mean by that, patronizing means to talk down to somebody. I'd like to reiterate
Mr.
that
Haywood, I'd ask that you save the rhetoric for your direct mail pieces. Let's talk about the issues here. Thank you.
I'd like to, I'm about to come on to it, Bill. I'm about to, thanks, Bill. I'd just like to point out that these positions do belong to all of us. These aren't professional positions, council positions. We have 1,200 very professional staff who work for this city. And I'd like to make sure that these positions attract a much more diverse number of people and kind of people that we have today. And so that's why I'm standing. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Thank you all for coming today, and to the BDA and for the people who are watching at home. One of the reasons that Bellevue is such a great community is because of the engagement of organizations like BDA and so many thoughtful citizens. You know, Bellevue may be blessed by its location in the Pacific Northwest between two lakes and mountains, two sets of mountains, but the success of our city didn't happen by accident. Strong leadership of the past and present and future with a vision, a sense of community, and strong financial management has helped guide the city into the wonderful place it is today. And I'm confident that with the right leadership in the future, we can continue to improve this city, continue to make it livable and a wonderful place to live and work, start a business, and retire. For this generation and the next is the reason I am running for the Bellevue City Council. You can certainly find out more about me at my website, robertsonforcouncil.com. I'm Jennifer Robertson, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, and thank the audience and thank the candidates for their contributions. And we at the Bellevue Reporter, our mission is to educate, enlighten, and inform, and I hope we've done a little of that today with my moderation here. And I'd like to thank the BDA and all of you for your passion and your interest and your love of Bellevue. And we hope that the expressions that our candidates have put forth today will help you in your decision to choose which one you feel will be the right one for the City of Bellevue and for King County Council. Thank you.
Thank you to the candidates for your time and for your patience. And we have a lot to look forward to in this community. It's a wonderful community. We're lucky to be here. Please join me in a warm round of applause and thanks to Bill Shaw as well. We thank the Bellevue Reporter as our special partner for today, and of course our sponsors, the Fortin Group and Puget Sound Bank. We look forward to seeing you back on October 27th for our next member breakfast. We are adjourned.